I hope you're doing well. I changed it up just slightly today because there's been a lot of talk about Elizabeth Warren's Universal Child Care and Early Learning Act. It's been out, or it's been talked about a lot today, so I wanted to get into it a little bit because it is important, and it's a personal topic, a topic close to my heart because I have a 7-year-old, and it costs a lot of money to put her somewhere that I'm not working when I am working, when school isn't happening for whatever reason. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about, and then we're going to talk about hi Dante. After that, if we have time, we'll dunk on some nerds who don't know shit about shit. So yeah, that's the deal. I forgot to tell people that I was streaming. I should probably do that. Whoops. My bad. Anyway, what's going on, you guys? What's up? How's your Wednesday been so far? My Wednesday has been decent. I worked, and my daughter came over for dinner, and we had her favorite, which is oatmeal. And then she only had like 6 bites and said that she was done. Because she's a little poop. And then I took her back to her dad's. Kids are the worst. Took her back to her dad's, and then I fed a kitty outside. That's not actually mine, but I feed it, so it's mine for now. But yeah. So yeah. And yeah. It's quiet today. Feels weird. I just posted on Facebook, so hopefully a couple more people will pop in before I get started. We're gonna pad some time, so maybe I can drop some knowledge. I don't know. What do we even know about? Nothing really. Kids are the worst. Childcare is expensive. And kids aren't allowed to get jobs or whatever. They're protected or whatever. I call shenanigans on that. Kids and pets should have to go to work too. Obviously, I'm joking. I vote for the coal mines. Me too. They're young. So, like, by the time they're 18, then they can stop working in the coal mines, and then they'll have the rest of their lives for their lungs to get better after breathing in all of that horrible whatever. It's just like smoking, right? So, like, you can quit anytime, and then your lungs get better the longer you've quit. That sounds like science. I'm in. Fun fact, I'm 12 follows away from hitting affiliate on the twitching thing. So if you haven't hit the follow button, that would be really cool of you. Just saying. You don't have to, but I would appreciate it a lot. The Twitcherino. I'm gonna start in 3 more minutes, whether or not anybody else shows up. I think I might, like, the next time I stream, I think I'm gonna stream from YouTube and Twitch and see if that helps in any way. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But yeah. I'm gonna get started in just a minute. My Streamlabs does not accurately display how many people are in chat or, like, watching my stream, because obviously you're here, Dante, and it doesn't tell me that you're here. It just shows that I'm the only person here, and that is incorrect. So strange. I don't know what the problem is, but I paid for a year of it, so this is what we got until my subscription runs out. 1 minute and 45 seconds, and then we'll get going. Just give some people time to, like, grab a snack or whatever and come and sit with me and talk about how our country doesn't care about children, even though they're literally our future. Or something. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just read what it tells me on my laptop in front of me. No, I'm kidding. I'm not Ben Shapiro. I also want to say that I really wish there were only, like, 2 or 3 apps that teachers used, like, within the entire district for communication, because every single teacher my daughter has had so far has had a different app that they like to use specifically, and it sucks because like, you get used to one style, and then and like you have all the information saved. I mean, it only takes like 2 minutes to sign up for a new one, but it's still like you have to download a new app, you have to delete the old one, and like make sure all the email notifications are like blocked or whatever from your email. It's just like a hassle. First world problems, you guys. At least I can communicate without actually having to like speak to a person. It is a lot of repeat work, but I do feel grateful that it's literally that easy. I just have to like send a text through the thing and her teacher gets it. That's like bare minimum effort at that point. But there are a lot of them, and I don't like it. That's the end of that rant. So I guess we're going to get started. So this is Elizabeth Warren's website. And this is the bill that she has introduced because it's good and awesome, and everybody should get on board with it because it's important for children to have a safe space to go when their parents have to go to work because capitalism. So this basically is saying that Senators Warren and Jones introduced the Universal Child Care and Early Learning Act. It's a bill that would effectively let every family have access to high quality, affordable childcare for their wee little tots and such. And it would establish like federally funded facilities. So like it's still local people that are working there, but it's federally funded. So like it would have like more guidelines and essentially be safer and have like a more thought out curriculum than just like privately owned businesses. Because let me tell you, you guys, there are a lot of daycares that are terrifying, and I know that firsthand. Like childcare facilities and at-home daycares. I've had horrifying experiences with both kinds, which is why this is like so personal for me. But like we've already poured $40 billion into childcare during COVID, but it's not like it says it's not a long-term solution because like it doesn't cover like the actual cost of daycare for like moms and dads or whoever has to put their kid in daycare, because daycare is like extremely excessively expensive. Like there's a reason it's expensive. Like they have to cover the cost of like employing people to like care for the children, which costs money, but like it's still incredibly expensive. I have average daycare costs right here. Daycare costs on average is no, right here. Michigan is number 18 in the country for how expensive it is to put a kid in daycare. And this is just an average. So like it's probably cheaper out in like the boonies because like there's less children competing for those slots. So you have to like lower your prices to get kids in the door. But here in like Metro Detroit, daycare literally for one child over the like 5 and over is still $240 a week. $240 a week. $240 a week. And let's see how much that is for the year. It's a pretty fucking hefty amount of money. Just one child for daycare. And that's not even including like babies. Babies are much more expensive to put in daycare. If like 18 months and younger is what I'm saying. This kind of legislation could create new jobs and also allow parents to rejoin the workforce. So obviously it won't pass. Right. Well, that's where I'm going next with this, because like the reason you should care is to get more people into the workforce. And that's like all this country wants is people to work literally all day, every day. But, yeah, as like, so the reason it's so personal for me is because I was a stay-at-home mom for my daughter. Because childcare was so expensive, my partner and I agreed that I mean, like, look at the the cost here. It's ridiculous. But like it's insanity. So like 240 divided by like 40 hours a week, let's say. That's $6 an hour. All right. So like when he and I separated, I think daycare, or I think minimum wage was like $9. Michigan minimum wage $9.65. Holy smokes. It was definitely not $9.65 when my partner and I split. So like, let's say it was $9.40. So it's more than half of what my paycheck was making minimum wage as a single mother. Like a newly single mother. So like I was brand new to the fucking workforce. And that doesn't include like insurance for myself, which I desperately need because I have health problems. But like I have to have a good enough job to like have healthcare offered to me. So that wasn't even a possibility at the time when I first was a single parent. So like this is unacceptable. So even a full-time worker making 15 an hour earns about 32 grand a year. Childcare would be over a third of that. Right. That's exactly the problem, is that, like, you're keeping people in poverty, even at, like this is the average income. The median household income for Michigan is just under $60,000 a year. So that's for the entire household. So you're paying a fifth of your entire income just to, like, keep your kid out of your hair so that you can work and pay your fucking mortgage payment and pay your insurance premiums and your car payment and then your bills and then whatever's left you have for food. That's disgusting. That's outrageous, which is why it's cheaper for one parent to stay home and the other parent works. But that other parent works like 50 fucking hours. It's so fucked. But, like, the District of Columbia in DC, the percentage of income, it's like, it shows right here, it's over 26% of your income goes to just sticking your one fucking kid in daycare. That's one child. One kid. So what happens if you, like, shit two kids out, like, back to back? You're one shitty child, Ben Shapiro. So if you have, like, two kids back to back, you're going to be paying for both of those infants to go to daycare, and, like, the sibling discount you get is, like, laughable. You're still paying, I don't know, like, I think it's like a 15 or 20% discount if you have a sibling go with that initial kid. It's ironic that the very people that complain about our failing national birth rate will turn around and oppose measures like this. I completely agree. But, like these are the reasons we need it. Like, fundamentally, so that people don't go broke trying to pay for their kids to be in a safe environment while they're out working. Because we need those people to work so that they make money and spend it in our economy. That makes sense, and we'll get more out of it in the long term, because not only are we, like, opening up a wider net for, like, women specifically, because let's face it, women are typically the ones staying home while their husbands or boyfriends or whatever are the ones having, like, careers. So women will be able to have, like, more career opportunities if they know that their kid is safe, and they don't have to fucking pay $1 billion for that service. So then, like, for me, I would be able to work more. Right now, with COVID, holy shit. I literally had to quit my job because there was nobody else for my child. Like, I had to help her with school. So my partner had to work. I mean, that's not his kid. So my partner was the only one working. her dad didn't offer to do anything. So it was all on me. Which really fucking sucks, you guys. But I mean, like, daycare's closed down and the cost of daycare has gone up since COVID because they've had to put in a bunch of new restrictions. Class sizes had to be smaller. They had to have, like, masks on hand and gloves and all of that shit for their employees. So, yeah, like, daycare costs have gone up, like, more than this, which is horrendous, but ultimately fair because you're still running a business. Some daycares had to, like, close because the attendance was too low. So, like, if you federally fund all of these programs, you ensure that those facilities are going to stay open. They're going to be clean. They're going to be regulated more harshly, which is a good thing. You want to make sure that the people taking care of your very young, impressionable children are, like, qualified to do so and are paid well enough to give a fuck about your shitty kid. And, like, then we'll have, like, a standard curriculum so that they're all learning the same things no matter where they're at. That's so important because not only do we as parents, like, not have time to even enjoy spending time with our kids, but we also don't have time to teach them things. And if you stick them in daycare, sometimes you have a good one and they'll do, like, a curriculum for half of a day. And other times they just are like, well, that's a paycheck, so who gives a shit? And it's really hard to hear. And I know a lot of parents are going to be like, well, not my daycare. My daycare is great. That's not true. Almost every daycare is trash. And that's not how it should be. Because so many reasons, but, you know. So, Warren and Jones want to invest $700 billion into our incredibly broken childcare system. It would ensure that women and families are not left behind in recovery. Legislation would guarantee all parents affordable access to safe and nurturing childcare and early learning opportunities. So, like, even preschool would be considered under that. And so many parents don't educate their children, so they're already behind by the time they get to kindergarten. Because right now, unless your child has, like displays enough of what am I trying to say? Unless your kid is, like, actively incredibly behind and, like, a teacher or, like, an authority at the school district can, like, measure how behind they are, you have to pay for preschool in my area. Like, there is no free preschool unless your kid is, like super duper behind in something or needs, like, extra help. Like, my daughter has she was able to get into preschool when she was 3.5. She went for a year and a half because she was like really behind in her speech. It wasn't because I wasn't doing the things I needed to do. It was cognitively she wasn't there, so she was able to get that help. But other parents in my district with kids who are just like normal fucking kids, good luck. Sucks to suck, I guess. So like, if you aren't actively teaching your kid and they go into kindergarten at 5 and they don't know anything, then they're already behind. And then they hate school because they have to like catch up and all of this other stuff. So you're like setting your kid up for failure. And that's a lot to put on a parent that still has to work at least 40 hours a week to like pay the bills. Yay, America. Let's see. Expanding quality childcare would create jobs, increase productivity, and have lifelong benefits for children's development and growth. Just like we were talking about. More people can get work because we're creating jobs by creating these facilities in general. So, like, we're creating jobs for our communities, which is incredibly important. It's not just like a federal job, it's community based because it's federally funded, but you're still employing people in your, in your community. It would increase productivity for everyone in general because then you don't have to worry about, oh, like, my kid is in a shitty environment, I have to leave as soon as I possibly can. Or like, I can only work this many hours because I can only afford so many hours for daycare. That kind of thing. Which is like horrible. Also, like, even if you work for a daycare, which I have done, if you work for a daycare, you still have to pay for your child to attend that daycare. My daughter went to a daycare center and I got a job there because they gave you a discount. So I was making, they gave me $10 an hour and I still had to pay $100 a week for my child to attend the same daycare that I worked at. And they did not offer insurance for an entire year. So you had to work at that facility or in the corporate whatever for a full year before they even offered you medical benefits, which is complete and utter trash. So I don't know, it's crazy. The hours were never consistent. They were constantly changing teachers in and out of the classrooms. So there was like no stability ever. It was awful. It was awful to see and it was awful to be a part of it. Because nobody wants to work in childcare. Early childcare, like daycares. No one wants to work in that environment because they don't get paid enough. And you have too many kids to like really make an impact and care about them. I remember when you worked that job, it was bad. And then I pulled her out when I quit that job. because of a whole bunch of reasons that I will get into if there's like enough interest, but it won't be today. But I pulled her out of that and placed her in an in-home daycare that was run by a woman who worked at the daycare center and was my daughter's teacher, like, initially. So I thought that I was placing her with somebody that I could trust. And it turned out that my daughter was being physically abused while I was at work. So, just like, and she couldn't tell me because of the cognitive, because she was cognitively behind. She was like 3 at that point, and she couldn't tell me that she was being hurt at daycare. I found out because she had like fingernail shaped scratches and like marks all over her arms one day, and that was the last day she went to that daycare. And that was her daycare. That daycare ended up being closed down very shortly after that, because you don't fuck with my kid and get away with it. That woman ended up having to leave the state. But yeah. Representative Jones, today in more than half the states in America, she was operating without a license. She did tell everyone she was licensed. Today in more than half the states in America, a year of childcare costs more than a year of in-state college tuition. In Westchester County, in my district, center-based care for an infant costs $21,000 a year. Nearly the entire annual income of a family living at the federal poverty line. An entire family. Not just one person, an entire family. Our childcare system is deeply broken, and those who can at least afford it are paying the highest price as a result. We want a country and an economy that works for all Americans. We need universal childcare. We need the Universal Child Care and Early Learning Act. Our bill would transform childcare as we know it in America by making it free of cost for families at or below 200% of the federal poverty line and capping costs at 7% of household income for families making more. As we work to build back better, advancing universal child care is essential to ensuring an equitable and just economy recovery for all communities, which is why I'm proud to introduce this critical legislation. Even before the pandemic, our child care system was broken, and that's a fucking fact. It's failing working families, and especially working mothers. Now is the time to think big and bold, to tear down the inequities working mothers and other parents face, and to tear down barriers to quality early education, proven to set children up for long-term success. If we want to recover from the economic catastrophe of last year, America needs a $700 billion investment in families by making affordable childcare a reality for everyone. And you might look at that number and say, oh, that's a lot of fucking money. Or you look at that number and you go, well, I don't even fucking have kids. Why do I want my tax dollars funding childcare when I don't even have kids? Well, there's like a ton of reasons. You want smart kids growing up to be smart people, right? They help advance our communities and our country as a whole. If they grow up and know what the fuck they have to do and do it, right? I'm going to just stop saying right now. Sorry, I watch a lot of political Twitch streamers, and a lot of them say right at the end of their statements. And I don't want to do that. The CTV effect. Oh no, it's rubbing off on everyone. Ooh, yuck. But not only does it help children, like, immediately and help families immediately, but if you can get a really good curriculum, like, across the board, you're giving every child that has to go into, like, a childcare facility because their parents have to work, you're giving all of them the same chance entering school. So they should all be at the same level and learning the same things across every state. That's how curriculum should be in school anyway. I mean, we know that it isn't like that, but starting at that point will help, like, lock down those fundamentals, because children at that age are so impressionable and they learn at such a high rate that they'll do better in public school and moving forward if you already are teaching them what to expect and how it's going to work. Like, you're just, like, cementing that in to create better success moving forward. And if moms don't have to worry about where their kids are, they can be reliable in other parts of the economy. Does that make sense? Like, they can go out and get a job and pay for things, put money back into the economy. The Universal Child Care and Early Learning Act would ensure universal access, so that every family, regardless of their income or employment, can access high-quality, affordable childcare options for their child from birth to school entry, which is phenomenal. Hey there, Carl. How are you? Guarantees affordability, which, again, is phenomenal because it's such a huge cost. It invests in childcare workers. The legislation ensures parity by requiring that wages and benefits for childcare workers be comparable to those of why can't I say this word? Similarly, there we go, credentialed local public school teachers, and invests in worker training and professional development modeled after the military child care program, which is, again, phenomenal, because right now daycare workers make about minimum wage, and you don't have to have any education yourself to be a child care worker in daycares. You don't need, like, you just, like, graduate high school and go take care of some shitty kids. That's it. I'm not saying that people without degrees can't properly care for children in the right setting, but I think that it would be beneficial to have um, training, on the job training, so that you feel like you can handle the situation. Because when I worked at a daycare, they were just like, oh, we're going to just throw you in this room. Have fun. And anytime I had a problem, they they literally just said, well, it's your fault because you aren't showing the children that you are the authority. Spit hot fire. But like I said, this is why it's so personal for me, because childcare right now is a fucking joke. And literally any fucking joker can go into a childcare facility and be like, hey, I want to work here. And most of the time they're going to be like, phenomenal. When can you start? Right now? Great. Get in the room. Go. Includes pre-kindergarten educational services. That's amazing. The network of centers and family child care homes would provide pre-K curriculum and educational services for children before they enter kindergarten. This legislation would also incentivize states and cities to expand their investments in early childhood education, which would help bridge the gap between kids going to daycare and going into kindergarten. So it would incentivize too, like, even parents that are stay at home, you could send your kid to daycare half days and they would still like get that curriculum, which would be so fucking important and amazing. Because like, just because you're a stay at home parent doesn't mean like you don't have other shit you can do when your kid is not immediately with you. And you don't have to be solely responsible for that education until they get into kindergarten. That's a huge burden that's lifted off of parents. Because, let's face it, not a lot of parents are qualified to teach their little children what they need to know before they hit kindergarten. And a lot of those parents that are not qualified straight up just don't fucking care and don't do it. I'm not saying I was the best either. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just listing the realities of our circumstances right now. Building on existing programs, the legislation builds on the successful federal Head Start program to create a universal system for families that cannot access Head Start services, while preserving the Head Start program for families eligible for those services. It also maintains the Child Care and Development Fund to help low-income families access other care options, including extended hours and after-school care for children up to age 13, which is so fucking helpful, because in what world do people work within the same hour parameters as your child attending school? Right now, like, it's summer vacation now, but the remainder of my daughter's school year, she went to school full days except for Wednesdays. She was remote. But I had to figure out how to drop her off at school, because buses don't come to my house. I live outside of her school zone, but we use her dad's address because that's the better school. We live like literally 3 minutes away from her school now, but the districts lines are weird. But I had to figure out how to drop her off at school, which started at 9:10, and then leave work to pick her up after school, which she got out at like 3:50. So I got to work like 6 hours a day, 4 days a week. That's 24 hours. And her, like, because of COVID, her school district wasn't doing like latchkey or after school program or whatever the flippin' thing is called. And even then, like, latchkey still costs money through the school district. And it's still not like super cheap. It was like half the money I was paying for daycare, which is like, yay, now I'm only paying half that amount, but still it's a pretty sizable cost considering everything else. You still have to like clothe that child and feed that child and like make sure they have entertainment with toys and shit, and you have to pay for all of those other things. So this is beyond awesome. Helping families receive care up to the age where that child can stay home reliably by themselves for like a couple hours a day and like get themselves off to school. That's a dream. An amazing dream. It establishes universal child care without increasing the deficit. After accounting for the economic impacts of this legislation, Moody's Analytics estimates that the program would cost the federal government approximately $70 billion a year, or $700 billion over 10 years. So it's not even $700 billion all at once. It's over the span of 10 years. And that's like peanuts. Like, I know that billion really like hits home for a lot of conservatives. They're like, oh my God, that's so much money. But like, for the federal budget, that's like fucking nothing. That's like a blip. Considering we spend an astronomical amount of money on like the military budget, which doesn't even need all of the money that it has. It has a lot of endorsements. Senator Warren has been leading the charge for support for the childcare industry for a while, which is phenomenal. It'll get more women into the working class and create more jobs and create stability for a lot of fucking people. The only real arguments I've seen against this is, well, what about people that don't have kids? Why do my tax dollars have to go to helping your shitty kid? And it's not a good argument, because the more education a child gets, like, the better they are for our economy in the long term. That's just a fact. They'll help our economy grow in different ways by the time they get out of college. And, like, that's what we need. We need to start from the bottom up and create like a better class of citizens than the ones that came before. That should be the ultimate goal anyway. Like, have a better future for our children and their children and their children. But like, conservatives only care about like keeping things the same, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Except, like, you can tell the paint is chipping off and it's incredibly faded. And, well, don't pick it up because then it will fall apart. Don't look at it too close, kids. But, so the average cost of daycare in Michigan, the average cost of a childcare provider in Michigan, here. So, like, again, here's the numbers. Just look at it. And if you don't have kids, like, really look at these numbers and think about it. Like, if you're thinking about having kids, look at these numbers right now, because we don't have universal childcare. So you're going to be paying. And you're going to be paying a lot for one kid, one child. And also support this, because it's nice. Is good. Oh. So I will link this in my Discord if anybody wants to read up on all of the benefits of like having established, good, accessible early childcare. So there's a link in my Discord, for anybody that wants it on my channel. We can watch, we're going to watch this Lizzie just wrecking it real quick. And then we'll get to the funnier stuff. But I just wanted to talk about this because it's something close to my heart that I believe in, that we should definitely have.
I'm here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Great.
Thank you. So congratulations to all of our nominees. I want to talk about how this economic crisis has affected women and families. This year, women's workforce participation hit its lowest levels since 1988, and 26% of women who became unemployed this year said it was due to a lack of child care. Mr. Harris, when you look at the data, do you agree that lack of child care is one factor that is now holding our economy back?
I agree that, yes. I mean, I agree that lack of childcare was a massive concern prior to the pandemic. It is a continued concern after the pandemic. And women's labor force participation, as you mentioned, Senator, is a critical aspect to long-term growth. And without a solution, particularly on the supply side for childcare, on the affordability of childcare, I don't think we'll see the levels of participation that we need in order to see the levels of growth that we want.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. In fact, you are right when you refer to it was already a problem before the pandemic. You know, this year, the pandemic showed us what working families have always known. Child care is critical infrastructure. And yet, for generations now, we have underinvested in our babies, and we have left parents to just try to work it out on their own. Even before the pandemic, half of all Americans lived in child care deserts, which are areas where there aren't enough licensed child care slots for every child who needs one. And COVID only made this worse, as thousands of child care providers have been forced to shut their doors. At the same time, child care workers, mostly women and disproportionately women of color, are being paid poverty level wages. So, Mr. Harris, let me ask you this. Do you support a robust federal investment in child care to support families and to ensure that these caregiving jobs are good, middle class, dependable jobs?
Senator, I do support a robust investment in child care for a few reasons, including some of the ones I just mentioned. But it's not just about getting families and particularly female workers back in the labor market. It's also just about making lives easier for working families. It doesn't have to be so hard. You mentioned the workforce issue. I believe the typical wage, I mentioned this earlier in my testimony, the typical wage for a child care worker is $12.25. That's inconsistent with their value towards children, and it's inconsistent with what we know about investment in child care and long-run productivity. So I am absolutely supportive of such an effort.
Good. Well, thank you, Mr. Harris. I appreciate it. You know, I'm glad that President Biden has put this issue front and center, but we need enough federal funding to actually solve the problem, not just nibble around the edges on this.
Right, put a Band-Aid on it.
$700 billion investment to raise the wages of every child care worker and guarantee affordable care for every family. We also need to provide enough.
And remember that that's over the span of 10 years. Just a reminder.
High quality spots for every child, and that's why I'm introducing the Building Child Care for a Better Future Act this week with Chairman Wyden. This bill increases the child care entitlement to states to $10 billion a year. And it also creates a new $5 billion a year supply building program to help child care providers open, get licensed, train, and hire skilled staff and provide high quality care. So let me ask you,
yes,
could we fund transformative investments in child care, the kind we're talking about here, simply by giving the IRS the resources to make sure that the wealthy and the giant corporations are paying the taxes that they actually already owe?
Yes.
We could raise a large amount of revenue by reducing the tax gap and focusing that reduction on high net worth individuals and large corporations. The president has put forth a proposal that Treasury estimated would raise $700 billion in the first decade and
yes,
$1 billion in the following decade. And there are reasons to believe this might be an underestimate. It does not include the effects of upgrading IT systems or improving taxpayer services. And it also does not include the indirect effects of additional enforcement on voluntary compliance. There's a lot of evidence that people comply more when enforcement is improved, even if they aren't personally audited. And one statistic that amazed me in that report, and I had to write this down because there were so many zeros, was that only 0.00004% of partnerships are audited. So just to talk about one industry that I know, there are some large law firms with thousands of attorneys. Partners earn over $1 million a year, and I find it hard to believe, if one knows that your audit rate is 0.00004%, that would not affect voluntary compliance.
Well, thank you, Professor Batchelder. This is why yesterday I introduced the Restoring the IRS Act. This bill provides mandatory funding for the IRS to ensure that it has the resources it needs to go after wealthy tax cheats, including the partnerships that you mentioned. Together with my wealth tax and real corporate profits tax, we could raise trillions of dollars without increasing the taxes on 99.9% of Americans by a single penny. These three proposals together generate more than enough revenue to pay every cent of the Building Child Care for a Better Future Act, plus every cent of the investments in child care in President Biden's American Jobs Plan and American Families Plan, and every cent of all the other critical investments in families and workers in those two plans combined. So let's not waste this historic opportunity to invest in American families. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Yes. All of those things. Fantastic. Also, for some reason, conservatives are saying that childcare is not infrastructure. So I pulled up like a little doodly here showing like what types of things are considered infrastructure: communication, electric, tunnels, sewage, roads, mass transit, drinking water, things like that. And fundamentally, I think that childcare is definitely considered infrastructure because it's so important and fundamental for the working class, just like it is to have clean drinking water or have working roads to get to work. So anybody who claps back on that garbage, that's what I have to say about that. So now we're gonna now we're gonna a truly cursed person. I know. I know. I know. So this is Caitlin Bennett. She is conservatives' poop girl. Literally, she shit herself. And for some reason, that did not shame her into never being online again. Yes, Crow, you heard me correctly. She shit herself as a grown human being. And she has her own little show that she does on Liberty Hangouts. And so now we're gonna listen to the super not okay things that she believes. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's do it.
So what's the difference between a 1 minute baby, 1 minute old baby that was just born, and 10 minutes before when they were about to be born? What's the difference?
The 10 minutes before?
There isn't a difference because that baby has reached, what's that term? Viability. So she basically showed up to a college party nobody wanted her at, got blackout drunk, passed out on the floor, and shit all over herself. Yes, thank you, Dante, for summing it up so very eloquently. Yep. Yep. So a baby, the question she asked is, what is the difference between a baby who is born for 1 minute and a baby who is like, I don't even know how she fucking worded that fucking question. It was ridiculous. She loves to do man on the street interviews because anybody with a modicum of argumentative ability would reduce her to a pile of cinders in a basic conversation. Yeah, she's a shitty propagandist and leaked chat logs from her site. Revealed that she and her husband are legit Nazis. Literally shitty. Yes.
So what's the difference between a 1 minute baby, 1 minute old baby that was just born, and 10 minutes before when they were about to be born?
10 minutes before when they were about to be born. So the difference is that the baby is born for the 1 minute out of the body, and then the other baby, the difference is that it is not born. But it is still a viable, like, living thing. So that's the difference. And she's making a shitty argument because she's making a shitty, like, not good faith argument. Because what she really wants to say is that, like, abortion is bad or whatever. And it's not. But, like, once the baby hits viability outside of the womb, like, you can take that baby out and it's, like, alive, right? And I know that abortions happen up to, like the third trimester, but those abortions are never wanted and are, really emotionally traumatizing for the families that it happens to. And for abortions before viability, they should be the woman's choice, and she should be ashamed of herself. They're super rare and only done for medical emergencies. Yes.
What's the
Well,
difference?
the 10 minutes before, like, the baby was still attached to the mother.
It's still attached outside when they're born through the umbilical cord. Can we still kill them if the umbilical cord is attaching them?
Yes.
You just
Mother's Day is
asked
coming
a
up, guys.
15-year-old
To break it to
girl.
ya, your dad doesn't want another tie. He wants a shirt from LHmerch.com
Oh,
that proudly
Jesus.
displays a Republican dad that's very proud. He wants a collection. See there. Do you want to redo that?
Eat a bag of
My,
dicks, Caitlin.
My TikTok.
Yeah, do you want to redo your TikTok?
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, why didn't you just come ask to flip me off?
Do you...
Hey guys, you can go to patreon.com/Caitlin Bennett to support my work. Do you want to flip me off now or later?
now.
Awesome! You're so brave.
You're so pretty.
Well, thank
I'm
you. You're
sorry.
pretty.
I don't like
You
it,
have
but I think
natural
you're
beauty.
pretty.
See, the thing is, if I took my makeup off, I wouldn't be beautiful. But you are naturally beautiful, so you got this.
Really? I think if
Yes.
you take your makeup off, you would be
I
beautiful.
look like a little boy.
I think
I
you would
do.
still be beautiful.
Well, I appreciate that.
That says something
Putting
weird
me off
about
on
her
something for being
husband.
So sweet and nice the next.
Oh, well, I think, like, inside of you is, like, nasty and hateful, but, like, I feel
Give
like
me
outside
proof.
of you is beautiful. Well, like, you're transphobic, you're
Give me
pro-life,
proof.
you're,
Being pro-life is nasty and hateful?
yeah, I think it is.
I know, right?
I feel
This
like
girl,
it's
like,
a woman's right to, like, her own bodily autonomy. So, like, I feel like that's a little hateful.
Is it hateful to stand up for people in the womb who don't even get
People in the
basic right to
womb.
life?
Clumps of cells in the
they.
You are a clump of cells. Every part of you is made up from clumps of cells.
Oh, Jesus
I'm,
Christ.
on the same level as a fetus.
You are on the same level as a human that is formed from conception.
I'm not leeching off of another human being now that I'm outside of the womb. I have bodily autonomy, which is something that you're super against. You dumb twat.
Want an easier way to shop for your kids?
Ugh.
At Stitch Fix, we make finding kids' clothes
Sorry, guys.
easy.
Blah.
And you matter just as much as the person that's inside of a womb.
I matter more
equally.
because
Your
I have a
life matters,
life.
So does theirs. Everybody's life matters because they have the inherent right to life. And I wish you would take that same energy of loving and being, I'm sure you think Black Lives Matter.
They do.
They do, and they matter in the womb. You do not have the right to end someone else's life. That's simple
But
as
like,
enough.
but what if the life's like attached to you? Then it's technically like belongs to you, and I feel like you have a right to like, see what happens.
No, well, we see what happens, and that's that they grow,
Yeah.
and they form,
Yeah.
and they're human beings.
And they can kill
Do you
you.
think that an elderly
They
person
fuck
in a
up your
wheelchair
body.
can't walk anymore? He's 90 years old. He's at the end of his lifespan. Do you think he's any less of a person
No,
than a
because he's
2-month-old?
like a human. He's already been born.
But that's a stage of development. So if fetus
This is such a stupid fucking argument, but also I can't believe like the guts of this girl right here. Like, I want to high five her. Like, I wouldn't be able to be like, oh my gosh, you're just so pretty on the outside, but your guts and your insides are just like, they must be actually made of shit. I would just tell her, I would probably just walk up to her and slap that microphone out of her hand. And then I'd get arrested. Good on her. But this argument is really, really terrible. Because life does not begin at conception. The life of that child begins once the fetus is viable and can come out of the womb and not leech off of another human person that's already alive. And also, you don't get to tell me what I can do with my body. If I don't want to be pregnant, then I shouldn't have to be pregnant.
no matter what stage in the pregnancy, they are in stages of development of a human life cycle. They are a human.
But
They
like
are
at the
nothing
beginning
else.
of it, so like it's.
That's a conception. That is the beginning of a
No.
human lifespan.
No, but like, see, some people like I obviously disagree with that, and I know a lot of people do. But like, I know a lot of people think that like life starts at conception, and I feel like what if you don't believe life starts at conception? Like, you should like if you don't believe that, then you have like a right to like.
If I don't believe
it's-
that
not
black
everyone, like-
people are human, do I have the right to go out and hurt them?
No, because it's like.
No, because opinions and feelings don't determine personhood, and they don't determine if they can be committed against with acts of violence. That's your opinion, and your feeling does not determine if you can kill somebody.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Do you see where I'm coming from?
I do see where you're coming from.
I would look more into it. There's a lot of good websites.
Don't look into
I
it.
have looked into it, yeah.
Yeah, I would look into it because there's evidence that that's when life begins. And even if we're not sure, would you stop in the road if you were driving down the road and you thought you saw a human go out into the middle of the road? Would you stop and brake?
Yes.
And you're not sure if that was a person or not, but you would stop and you would try to save them. Have that same perception and that same energy about people in the womb. If you're not sure, you should probably err on the side of safety that we don't kill them. No,
No. I'm not going to change my opinion.
that's upsetting. That's upsetting.
Oh, poor
What would it
baby.
take to change your opinion?
Science.
Nothing.
Science.
What's the difference between a 1-minute-old baby outside of the womb and 10 minutes before that when they were about to be born? What's the difference? Oh, I'm sorry, I
Nothing.
did not mean to do that.
You're fine. What was the question again?
So what's the difference between a 1 minute baby, 1 minute old baby that was just born, and 10 minutes before when they were about to be born? What's the difference?
The 10 minutes before, like the baby was still attached to the mother.
It's still attached outside when they're born through the umbilical cord. Can we still kill them if the umbilical cord is attaching them?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Are you joking with me? Because I don't think
Oh
that's
my
funny.
God.
So a baby is born, and if they have not cut the umbilical cord yet, you think it's okay to end their life?
No, I was just joking.
Okay. I hope so. Because if not, you gotta get to therapy, because that is not okay. But I think you are joking.
Yes.
You seem a little nervous. So I think that was a joke, right?
Yes.
I would hope so. I would hope so. Okay. All right. All right. Anything else? Well, I'm not transphobic. I've never
Can I
said
take
that
a
I
selfie
hate
with you?
you. You cannot. But if you want to take a picture with me, Mike will take the picture for you.
Okay.
But yeah. All right.
Ready?
You okay? All right. I hope you think about what we talked about and change your mind. There's a lot of good websites that you can look at.
I will look at your websites.
Not my website. You can
Your
look at that.
websites that you suggested.
I would look at pro-life websites that specifically
Pro-life
talk
websites.
about abortion, that specifically talk about the right to life.
Yeah.
They focus on that.
Got it.
And there's a lot of convincing arguments.
Let's find how much do you want to bet that we couldn't find a pro-life website that didn't have some sort of religious affiliation to it? Because I bet you could not. Anywhere on the internet. Because the science is already out on it. And it's a travesty that people like her exist to like prey on unsuspecting like pedestrians when she already has an argument ready to go that she's rehearsed, and she just like looks around, that person, that's the one that I want to like demean and make look incredibly stupid on my internet show, because I guarantee she doesn't have an argument ready to go in her head. Most secular pro-life arguments are deeply philosophical gibberish arguments. Yes, that is accurate. I am also of the opinion that men cis men don't get to have an opinion on what women do with their bodies if they if a womb owning individual gets knocked up and they don't want to be knocked up, then they should have the right to do that. And that's it. If you can't carry a baby to term inside of your person, you don't get to make laws about it. That's how I feel.
There.
I gotta go.
All right. Bye. I don't think she was joking. I'm just going to say that out there. No matter who the president is,
no.
my work here will not stop to defend the values of conservatism. And to do that, I need security. To donate to my security fund, to pay this guy to follow me and be with me everywhere I go, go to patreon.com/Caitlin Bennett. Thank you for help keeping me safe. Party of inclusion and intolerance. So they said if I were a Trump supporter, they wouldn't come and talk to me, but I've been hearing that people are voting for Joe Biden because of decency, civility. There's division caused by Trump and his supporters, yet if I were a Trump supporter, they would not have talked to me. Very decent, very civil, very tolerant. There's a lot that I want to say about the election that Facebook would fact check.
It's really telling that she didn't actually show the interaction she had with those people. She just was able to talk about it after the fact.
Check me for saying, if you want to see my raw, uncensored opinion and behind the scenes footage from here at the beach, go to libertyhangout.tv. It helps support my work, and it helps you watch my content even if big tech takes me off. Go to libertyhangout.tv
Big tech
to watch Caitlin Bennett uncensored.
Ew. It's like paying for big booba content. She's literally whoring herself out here. I'm not saying that that's like that like people can't do that for money. I support every type of work, but she specifically doing this is gross because she would absolutely talk shit about actual real sex workers doing that for a business. I think she's largely demonized on YouTube, so she uses her videos to draw traffic to her website. I mean, I'm sure that's like, how can you not hate her? Demonetized? Demonetized. I did read that wrong. Sorry. I mean, that's probably true too. But like, now that Trump isn't in office, she feels unsafe and she needs a bodyguard. And she's begging people to pay for her bodyguard's salary. That's weird to me. I wonder if something actually happened to her to make her feel unsafe, or if it's just like a weird political move. It's mostly a gift, but her presence on a college campus, grift, but her presence on a college campus did actually cause a rally against her. Oh boy. Okay, so we have, so a big group was marching after her, trying to drive her out. Fucking good. Good. Man, I wish someone would punch her in the fucking face on a video game. Free speech, bitch. I say we're going to listen to what she has to say about BLM first, and then we're going to see her confront actual, literal, minding their own business black people to argue with them about BLM. Oh my goodness. That's a 15-minute video, and this one is 11 and a half minutes of this very, very white girl giving us her very, very white girl opinion.
Years since those peaceful protests. Can you guys believe it's already been a whole year since those peaceful protesters nearly burnt the country down? Happy anniversary! In case you guys forgot just how peaceful.
It wasn't the protesters. She does sound 12. And her makeup is not doing her any favors this close to the camera. I'm just gonna put that out there. Obviously, it's professionally done too, so that's even worse. Yeah, I can already tell. Hey guys, remember how Portland is just a smoking ruin now? Crazy, right? Conservatives love to just literally make shit up. Literally just make shit up, because she is literally stating that that cities actually burned down. Whole ass cities just gone. Not because of wildfires, but because of BLM protesters specifically. When we all know that the violence that was done at any of those, most of those rallies were done from like conservatives going and causing a ruckus on purpose. Some of them were even fucking cops. Like, they literally caught the cops on camera. That's literal actual video evidence that BLM protesters weren't actually doing it. But, like, fuck evidence, am I right? Yeah, white supremacists and Proud Boys and all that fucking shit. Like this. Like good old Caitlin here.
Well, they were. Here's a quick refresher.
This one specifically is really aggravating because that fucking truck almost ran a ton of people over, which is why they mauled that truck. This is such a bad faith. Like, this is a... Ugh. 93% of the 300 plus rallies were peaceful, and notably most of the violence was started by the police. Yes, literally that. But, like, the violence was started by police, or, like, assholes like this in the truck here, where they just, like, literally drove through a crowd of people because they didn't want to stop. I remember watching this in real time when this happened. They drove, like, did not fucking stop. Did not stop. Which is why they swarmed the fucking semi. Police did drive through crowds. Yes, I remember seeing that too. So, like, they're painting the picture they want people to see and not actually showing the truth. Yes, this video is bad.
Forget this legendary CNN moment when they called the protest fiery, but mostly peaceful.
What you are seeing now, these images...
I mean, she's doing it on purpose, Kuro. They did it on purpose. But like, yeah. Oh no, statues got pulled down because like there are statues of a bunch of fucking bigots that needed to come down a really long time ago, and nobody's been listening, so we'll just do it ourselves, I guess. Fiery but mostly peaceful protests after police shooting. So like, the police shot someone, and then there were protests because the police shot someone. And like a building was on fire or whatever. A building does not make an entire city. And that's just property. And property can be replaced, but people can't. Just gonna put that out there.
Came and come in stark contrast to what we saw over the course of the daytime hours in Kenosha and into the early evening, which were largely peaceful demonstrations in the face of law enforcement.
Or
Yeah.
when Don Lemon compared it to the American Revolution.
This is how the Boston Tea Party, rioting. Do not get it twisted and think that, oh, this is something that has never happened before, and then this is so terrible, and where are we, and these savages and all of that. This is how this country was started.
Or
That's literally true. Like, what was her point supposed to be there? The Boston Tea Party was incredibly violent and destructive. Literally destructive. What the fuck? What? What? I don't understand. The equating of property destruction with violence was heavily used to demonize protesters and justify police overuse of force. Yeah, right, because the police only give a shit about property. That's what they're there to protect. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about any person. They're there to protect the property. That's their job. And anyone that would argue that this is not how change happens has never actually picked up a history book. Because you can only push people so far and go, oh, we'll take care of it. We'll do it. We can't do it this year because of X, Y, and Z. We got to push these things through. We can't do it this year because of A, B, and C. Sorry, guys. I mean, how bad is it? How bad is it really? It's not affecting me, so how bad could it be? And then you push people too far, and you like, a cop literally killed somebody, like a defenseless human person, like, live on camera, and then you still were like, oh, well, that was an accident. Or, oh, he was on drugs that we definitely absolutely didn't plant on this person or in this person. He couldn't breathe because of the drugs or whatever. MLK Jr. considered moderate, wait and be patient white people to be a bigger impediment to change than the racist bigots, and he was right. Yeah, absolutely. Because anybody that just sits there and lets it happen is equally as responsible, because you're not doing anything to, like, you're not doing anything. So you're just letting it happen. It's absolutely your fault if you just sit there and watch something horrible happen and don't try to do anything about it. You can't just be like against. You can't just say you're against something and then just like sit back and let other people try to do the work, because you're not being helpful. You are a hindrance. You're like actively being a hindrance at that point. Especially if you're white. Be better, white people.
When Chris Cuomo said this.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and
peaceful.
There's the First Amendment. You just gotta look it up, Mr. Cuomo.
And who could forget when these healthcare heroes that told us to stay home all of last year started cheering when BLM gathered by the thousands in the middle of a pandemic? Good times, right, guys?
Like you give a fuck about the healthcare workers. You didn't want to stay home. That's why the hospitals were full. Everybody was wearing masks. Everybody in that scene was wearing a mask. But not conservatives. That argument was hypocritical and dumb for a lot of reasons. Yeah.
Let's see if things are any more peaceful today in Minneapolis.
This bill of comprehensive police reform to be... we've just got to be careful here with some gunshots. Excuse us.
So peaceful. So, since it's been a whole year since the BLM riots kicked off across the country,
what? So somebody filmed a shootout, and that has something to do with... Remember that she's on the side that literally tried to overthrow the government. I know. I'm just... It makes me angry that the right is just full of grifting assholes that straight up have no moral compass, and like we expect them to lie and cheat and not have good faith arguments about anything, but that standard doesn't go both ways. And it, like, I don't want to be like that, obviously, but people on the left hold, well, everyone holds us to a higher standard, and any time we like cross that line, anytime we cross that line, even if it's just like the tiniest little infraction, like the news blows up about it, and like conservatives grab that and just fucking go nuts, and like they don't care what the truth is. They just care that they can take it and twist it to make it like look good for them, even if it's just like a blatant lie. They don't care. They just the only thing that matters to them is like sticking to like that political line. Like they cannot cross it. So they're going to do everything they can to justify it to themselves, even if it's a lie. And every single person knows that it's a lie, but they still just spout ridiculous nonsense. And you literally can't argue with people like that. There is no arguing with people like that, and there's no changing their mind because they have already made a decision, and they're just trying to find things that align with their way of thinking, and then they just grasp it and they just won't ever let go. And it's infuriating, and I wish that the Conservative Party would just crumble already. So bitches like this wouldn't be allowed on TV or the internet. Just like wholesale, take all of them off of the internet. Do not give them a platform anymore. But that's not the world we live in. And we're only 3 minutes into this 11.5-minute video. Fuck me.
Country, I wanted to revisit the insanity to remind everyone
The
how
insanity.
in 2020, Democrats showed the whole country exactly who they are and what they believe in. After a whole year of letting the left get away with anarchy, it's time to see just how badly its effects have been and where we head from here. But before I do that, I wanted to remind you guys real quick that for just $5 a month, you can receive access to my private Facebook group when you sign up at patreon.com. Yours truly. So 1 year ago
No,
today,
thank you.
and conveniently just months before the most important election of our lifetime, Democrats decided that now it's time to admit that Black Lives Matter. Because apparently, at no other point in our nation's 245-year history did they ever matter to Democrats. Only when it came time to get Trump out of office did America suddenly manage to become the most racist country to ever exist. Their claim that police are just going out and targeting black people not
Oh my god. This is some bullshit. Oh my god. This is... None of this is a new narrative, and BLM predates the 2020 election, you absolute tool. Yes. That. But like... This just happened out of nowhere. Democrats just suddenly started giving a shit. Just out of thin air. Random happenstance. Who even knows what triggered it? This dumb bitch. Conservatives are the dumbest lot. I swear. They're dumb and or like I don't know. They're dumb. I'm really trying hard to think of it. I'll think of it while we're listening. I have a really hard time with words. Like it's a real, actual, legit problem. So please excuse me for not being able to just like say what I mean in any given moment. I apologize, you guys. Willfully ignorant. That's that's what I wanted to say. Conservatives are either incredibly dumb or they are willfully ignorant. There isn't any other way to be a conservative. Like, she's a mixture of both. She's like super fucking stupid, but also she knows her audience, and she knows like all of the talking points that she has to hit to like really get that grift on. She knows how to make money while being a conservative, which is like way worse than just being really fucking stupid and ignorant. But yeah, that was what I meant to say. Willfully ignorant.
Not only turned out to be a huge lie, shocker, but it turned out to be the justification for all of the violence that they committed.
If this country doesn't give us what we want, then we will burn down this system.
Good.
And replace it.
Destroying property which can be replaced
yes.
is not violence. Any reasonable person
Correct.
would say we shouldn't be destroying other people's property, but these are not reasonable times.
But what may be worse than their violence has been the response from law enforcement and the politicians who control the police department.
She's not giving us any like argument against what those people just said. She's just like pointing out like, this is the thing that brown people said, so obviously we're totally against it. And they must be Democrats because they're sick of white people shit. This bitch lives in a $500,000 house. That makes me sick. Destroying property is not the same thing as wholesale slaughtering black people. And the reason all of this shit happened in the way that it did is because black people are sick of white people's shit. Justifiably so. And the pandemic gave them the opportunity to come together to finally have a loud enough voice to spark change, because a lot of people were collecting unemployment and able to pay for things, so they didn't have to go work during a pandemic. So it happened because your fucking Trumpy president totally botched keeping us safe from the spread of a deadly disease. Virus. So, it's Trump's fault. And also that police officer that put his knee on somebody's neck for a bajillion hours.
The political climate shifted so drastically over the last year that police are too afraid to do their jobs anymore. Not because they're afraid of injury in the line of duty, but because they're afraid of getting thrown in jail if they commit the grave crime of offending the outrage mob. Police officers,
they're being afraid of being held accountable for killing black people. As well they should be.
are more fearful of seeing jail time for doing their jobs than criminals.
Killing innocent people is not a police officer's job. They are not the ones that are supposed to sentence people to death for maybe doing a thing. They are required to transport, like, capture and transport to a facility where then they sit and wait to be tried for their crime of being brown in this country. A police officer's job is not to kill people. They are supposed to detain and transport. They're a weird taxi service for criminals. That's what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to wholesale kill people. They're just not.
Are
5 minutes.
Entire cities. Don't believe me? There's a recent news.
Entire cities. She said it again.
Dwindles while crime in some major cities skyrockets. Wow, what a shocker! It's almost like that's why there were so many police in dangerous neighborhoods to begin with. Maybe there is a correlation here. More police, less crime.
More police, more crime.
More crime. You guys already
more
know
police,
there
more
are
crime.
A lot of things I want to say to you right here about this topic. But thanks to big tech, I have to give you the watered down version of the truth. To see my full, uncensored thoughts about this.
So she was demonetized, but like, this really makes me think that she just spouts really, 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 really hateful rhetoric on her website. Like she just legit is uncensored. She just opens her mouth and word vomit comes out. It can't be... Well, I don't know who hosts her website, but like, even then, like, her website could be shut down if it's like too blatantly like racist and stuff, right? I would hope. I don't know. I don't know that law, but like, I super hope that that's the case. Oh, you sweet summer child. Ugh, yuck. Yuck. That makes me sad. If I were president, there would be a lot of different things changed.
Topic and more, sign up right now at libertyhangout.tv to watch Caitlin Bennett Uncensored. Let's take a look around the country at some of the cities that wanted to defund the police to see how they're doing today. This one's from CNN, so that's how you know it's definitely true. The US saw significant crime rise across major cities in 2020, and it's not letting up. I hope want you guys to go find this article and save it forever, because that's amazing that they would even admit that. The article reads, major American cities saw a 33% increase in homicides last year as a pandemic swept across the country. Millions of people joined protests against racial injustice and police brutality, and the economy collapsed under the weight of the pandemic. But in some cities, the damage is a lot worse than that. Shooting incidents in Philadelphia are up 57%. In Milwaukee, homicides have jumped 95%. In the first week of June alone, the Los Angeles Police Department reported that homicides increased 250% compared to the previous week. New York City has seen a 44% spike in shootings this year to 511, from 355 during the same period in 2019.
Oh, I know.
According to the NYPD,
lots of people don't have money.
176 murders, which is 23% higher than last year. Now, what could possibly be the reason for this? Well, let's look back at CNN to find the answer. Rikers Island Jail in New York is empty. Between COVID, between bail reform, the protests caused animosity towards the police, which took us out of neighborhoods that needed us the most. Earlier this month, the NYPD disbanded its
these two things are not related.
Tactics in fighting violent crime were often met with controversy. The NYPD said 272 uniformed officers filed for retirement between May 25th and June 23rd. Last year, 183 officers had filed for retirement during that period. Now let's take a look at Minneapolis, where this all started a year ago. According to CBS, early 2021 Minneapolis crime stats showed a 250% increase in gunshot victims. The New York Post reported that there have been 31 homicides this year compared to 15 last year at the same time, and the city's homicide rate last year was the highest for Minneapolis since the 1990s. Nearly 200 people have been shot this year, double over last year and the most in a decade. But here's the real kicker. Remember when Minneapolis moved to defund the police and invest in mental health programs instead?
Whoa!
Well, what the mayor of Minneapolis wants to do now? He wants to refund the police. He told a local station, "You need law enforcement. We need a department that's able to investigate these horrible crimes to make sure that the perpetrators that have shot kids are brought to justice." Well, isn't that interesting? It looks like their little fairy tale didn't work out. But Minneapolis isn't the only Democrat stronghold increasing its police presence after a year of BLM violence.
So, obviously there are so many holes in this argument, it's like Swiss cheese. But, so it's just like a bunch of talking points that we're just gonna sprint through so that nobody stops to think too hard about them. Because if you stop to think about something that she says for too long, then you're gonna find the holes, and they're huge. That last one, hang on. I want to get my thoughts in order.
Isn't the only Democrat stronghold increasing its police presence after a year
please
of
budgets. So the hole in this argument is that quote unquote defunding the police just means that you're taking funds from police departments and allocating it in a different way, which does include mental health. Oh my gosh, you guys, I just said no words. People can't talk about mental health. Ugh. What do people need mental health for? This country is great, just like it is, right? But you're training, they're still a part of the police force, but their job is just different than like the average traffic stop police guy, in that they actually matter and make a difference. Which a lot of police are like, they don't want it to change because they feel like their jobs are being replaced. Which, I mean, that it is and isn't the case, because like there's still gonna be bullshit traffic cops that don't make a difference ever. And then you have just like a different department, right? Like, do you really want to go to a house where they just reported like some violence? Or do you want to send the social worker to like talk them down and like de-escalate the situation and probably get that poor woman out of a really abusive relationship and help that she needs to actually get out of that situation, instead of just going and showing up after the fact and, oh, well, nothing's happening, and fucking off so that she can be another murder statistic later. I'm ranting and just like babbling at this point, but like, I'm making better points than this dumb bitch. Just like off the top of my head. She's just running through talking points as fast as she can in 11 minutes. So defunding the police doesn't actually mean removing their budget or like whatever. It's reallocating that funding to make a better impact, a greater impact on your community in a positive way, which police just straight up don't do. Fact. That's like it. We're almost done, guys. 2 more minutes.
BLM violence. Los Angeles, California announced this week that they'll be increasing police funding, as did Sacramento, California, San Diego, California, Baltimore, Maryland, Phoenix, Arizona, and even New York City. So even the defund the police crowd realize that they messed up and won't have any cities left if they don't act now. But honestly, the effort is too late and probably won't even matter. You can refund the police all you want, and it won't change the fact that officers are too afraid to do their jobs. And the mob won't be going away anytime soon. These cities can increase police spending all they want, but until officers can actually feel comfortable enough to do their jobs, the crime might still look the same. But who am—
So, now that a lot of states are pulling the extra unemployment benefits because they want to force people out of their homes and back to work when COVID is still a real threat. People like, she said that the mob isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Like, I haven't heard of any like protests or anything. And like, I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong. Like, educate me. I want to know. But like, people have to find jobs now, and it's hard to like come together as a group when you have to go back to the workforce because you're being forced by your government. They're taking away your income. So you're being forced to like find other ways to get money. But like there is no mob. And I like how quickly she cycled through all of those articles. So that you couldn't like read them unless you paused. But I really have to wonder at how much of that funding is going to be reallocated to like different departments now that like we've sparked social change. So just something to think about. Police are almost entirely immune from prosecution for their misdeeds, so she's just flat out lying. Yeah, I mean, police being afraid to do their job is straight horse shit. Like, unfortunately, we're still seeing police violence against minorities. Like, still. It's still happening. But there's less opportunity to come together and create a bigger voice now than there was last year. But hopefully with this new administration, we see some real quality changes to police districts across the country. Good change, fundamental change, because I mean, we need it, and I don't think there is any going back to like pre-COVID anything. So fingers crossed on that one. We'll see though.
Am I kidding? CNN is obviously wrong. These cities are just experiencing a surge in peace. Duh. There's no possible way crime could be increasing now that BLM is getting their way in this country. We all know it's okay, Kuro. Commit crime. But in all seriousness, guys, this is why it's so important to stop being libertarians and start caring about the culture. We can have all the police we want and crime is still going to climb until we can successfully combat leftist cancel culture. Because right now, that is what's holding us back from being the nation we want to be. Hopefully, if I get to make a 2-year anniversary of the BLM riots next year, I can report on some happier news.
This fucking bitch. Wow. That's just gobbledygook. Can you imagine? So she's like reaching out to the libertarians saying like, we need more government right now so that we can get our way, so that the lefties like don't have any more power, so we can make it like it was, you guys. Wasn't it great then? And then their vision is like the 50s when everything was bad. Except for like successful white people. I don't know. I'm looking at myself in my little display. She's trying to radicalize fringe righties. I mean, yeah, they're always trying to get, like, because they're crumbling from the inside out, they're, like, trying to make peace with, like, centrists and authoritarians. She's an opening to the alt-right pipeline. Yes. So I'm looking at my little display of myself in my Streamlabs, and every time I stream, I always feel like this part of my face has some weird like shadow over it, and it makes me look like I have wait, trigger warning for anybody watching that is trans and sensitive to body hair. It makes me look like I have a 5 o'clock shadow to me, but I don't know what you guys see. It's the mummy skirts. But like right in this area here, I always see like this dark shadow, and it makes me look like I shaved yesterday. Kind of stubble is what it looks like, but I know it doesn't exist. It's weird. I don't know what you see though, because I don't like watching my streams. Ugh. Okay, so we finished this one. So now we're gonna watch her confront a real life black person and try to argue with them about BLM. Are you guys ready? I'm ready.
Then no lives matter.
Oh.
We do have a little bit of a problem. We just have to stop always putting race in the mix. It can be out. Do you think then they should take off Black Lives Matter on the road right there? If we want to get rid of dividing races or picking one out of things, should we get rid of the Black Lives Matter?
Not yet, no. I do believe all lives matter, but I do believe in the end, until you fully understand there's a problem with the black community, then no lives matter.
As you guys
Your
can
body
see,
is
as
ready.
I promised you, we were back out on the road doing interviews, talking to people, but I need you guys to support me at patreon.com/Caitlin Bennett for travel expenses, security costs, and just be able to bring you awesome content. You can support my work. You can support my work there at patreon.com/Caitlin Bennett.
Hey,
Asian boy.
what's your name?
My name's Caitlin. What's your
That's
name?
it, Katrina. We don't need to say, oh, the black girl over there with the hat. Oh yeah, her with the stripe. Like, no.
Yeah, this white girl with the 100 SPF because she burns so easily. We don't say that.
Let's just stop saying that so it won't be a problem anymore.
Kat,
That's where we
what are you
have
doing?
to try to fix it within ourselves too, because we do have a little bit of a problem. We just have to stop always putting race in the mix. It can be out.
Do you think then they should take off Black Lives Matter on the road right there? If we want to get rid of dividing races or picking one out of things, should we get rid of the Black Lives Matter?
Not yet, no.
But we're talking about we don't want to, separate based on the races.
I know, but we still have to get to that point. But like I said, until we both come to the understanding that Black lives does matter because of all the stuff that they've been through, and let it be known that it is a problem and never went away.
True.
Until that is acknowledged,
Preach.
then all lives matter. You see what I'm saying? Then
Yes.
that can come off once that is finally acknowledged that,
You don't think in America in 2020 that you don't think everyone agrees that Black Lives Matter, that humans, do you think everyone agrees that white lives matter?
I can't believe she just said that. I cannot believe she just said that. I can't. The balls that she has, that she's like, her, oh my God, excuse me. Come here. I found the culprit. She knocked one of your figurines off of your display. She's being a bad girl. Take her to jail. Yeah, you gotta get locked up now, Dad says. That's what Dad says. Stop being bad. I'm almost done, and then I'll come downstairs, I promise. Go find something else to do. Oh, no. You smell good. Oh, you bit me. Oh. You're chomping on me. Oh. Alright, I love you. You have to go away. You have to go away. No. Ah! That was my lip! You little stinker. Oh. Okay. I'll let you go. I will. Oof. She's in a weird mood, you guys. Ow. Too hard. Jeez. She was chomping on me. She's being a weirdo. Alright, so there was the pud for the stream. Moving on.
Honestly, I believe all white lives matter. I do believe
But
it.
do you think America as a whole would agree with you that white lives matter just like black lives matter? Because if you take a poll...
No.
You don't think so?
No. Not all Americans will believe. No. Because I do believe America is still based on white. It's the truth. You guys are the dominant. And sorry, take that back. No, I don't need to say you guys, but the dominant. Like,
are we dominant or are we the majority of a skin color? Because when you say we're dominant, you're
Both of those things. You absolute turd. She didn't just shit herself, she shit herself into a turd.
I don't believe in systemic racism. I don't think there's a police brutality problem against
oh my god
color in America. That's statistically not true. It's not happening.
This video right here is enough to warrant her needing a guard, because she's like, she gives zero fucks who she's talking to. I don't believe this, I don't believe that, because it's not affecting me. I would literally reach across and grab her by that fucking braid and yank until all of those extensions came out. Along with half of her hair. As a white person, I can't imagine. I literally obviously can't imagine what that poor woman who she's talking to is feeling. because the audacity of this white bitch here telling you, like, nah, systemic racism is definitely, absolutely not real. And white people are just a majority skin color, definitely not dominant. Ugh, yuck.
And we can dive into that, but if we look at the statistics and we look at the crime rates and we look at who is being brutalized by the police, it's not a racial problem.
Yes, it is.
I don't agree with you at that at all.
Do you mind if I take 10 seconds to try to change your mind?
Go ahead.
So,
I
13
in knowledge.
Yes.
Well, knowledge is power.
So because you didn't know that about Black Lives Matter and their mission statement and everything about, so with everything going on, and I'm sure I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you believe with the Black Lives Matter movement, there's probably a police brutality problem within
I love you too,
the
Carl.
Black community, right? You think they're a target? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that something you would say yes?
Yeah, because just the reality is how many black people are in jail right now, in prison. Look at that number.
Okay. Let's talk about how many unarmed black men were shot in 2019 by the police, shot and killed.
I don't know.
Okay.
With everything going on, it's painted on our streets, there's riots happening, there's protests happening. Would you think that number is substantial? Because we're just talking about it nonstop. Black Lives Matter, police brutality. If you had to put a number on it, what would you guess? What range?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I would just say it's a good number because in the end, it doesn't even matter about the number. The reality is, if this person, if you just felt threatened and this person was unarmed and you didn't follow procedure and went ahead and shoot him, I'm sorry, you felt threatened because of his color. That's how I feel.
I think the numbers do matter because when we look at the numbers, we find that 9 unarmed black men were shot and killed by the police. All came back justified except for 2, and the officers were held accountable for that. So if you would like more interactions like these and behind the scenes footage of how we got here, that's actually the first people we talked to, you can go to libertyhangout.tv right now to support my work to keep coming out here and trying to show these people what the truth is. But look at her.
Yeah, she's not falling
She
for
has
the
her phone in her
gotcha.
hand. I hope she's looking up what systemic racism is. She'll find out it doesn't exist.
There's a lot of numbers that are out there we don't know. The cops keep it within themselves. Do you think they don't do things to keep things together?
Let's do a hypothetical. Let's pretend it's not just something that they made up. Let's pretend these are the numbers. Does that shock you that it was 9?
9's still too many.
I agree with you, but does it shock you?
No, it doesn't.
Is it surprising?
No, it's not surprising because how I feel, I'm like 9 is a number, but still the reality is how many black people are in prison.
Why do you think more black people are in prison?
Exactly.
Why do you think?
Because I do believe racism is still alive. Like every little thing is like, oh, let's go ahead and put this guy in there instead of that same other race guy can do the same exact thing, but he get a lesser charge than that person. That is a problem.
Well, do you think it's purely by, okay, give me the numbers. Do you know the population, the percentage of population in America that is African Americans, black people?
That are in prison?
No, just the population in general.
No.
So it's 13% of the population are black people.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So and then she immediately cut away. Yeah. I looked it up and Caitlin specifically said black people that were shot by police in 2019. The number of people killed by police by ethnicity in 2019, 259 black people were killed by police in the United States in 2019, and 406 white people. And the rate of police shootings of black Americans is a lot higher than any other ethnicity, at 30 per million people. And in comparison, because it did say that 406 white people were killed, but there are a lot more white people in the country. So it's 12 million or 12 per million for white people. That's like a huge disparity. So like words matter and statistics matter, especially when it comes to people and minorities. Like if you only give like this much information to prove your point, you're not, like, you're withholding information on purpose so that your point looks valid, but it's actually not, and that's really bad faith. And if you like it took me 30 seconds tops to prove her wrong. And like, she puts people in these positions to where they don't have time to react like that on purpose so that it makes her look smarter. Just like the last video that we watched of her, the last or the second to last video that we watched of her, the first video we watched, where she like bombarded that young girl with all these talking points she already like rehearsed and memorized so that she looks like she's more informed than these random fucking people off the street that she just approaches. But like, any of these people could look this information up, but because they're bombarded, she approaches them and they're like taken aback, and like they're not on a level playing field at all. So a lot of people in this circumstance aren't going to think to look at their phone because someone is talking to you. Someone has a camera pointed in your face. I want this information from you right this second. So she's being such a fucking cunt. But yeah, the number of black people that were killed in 2019 by police were 259 people, not 9. Not 9. So that's a blatant lie. And like, she didn't even try to prove where she found that information. Which would be the first thing. Caitlin specified unarmed black people. She specified unarmed black people that were shot by police to help her winnow down the number. Yeah. So like, if you say it because words matter, she doesn't want to be called a liar or whatever. So she had to say it in an incredibly specific way that she rehearsed and memorized just for this talking point. That's how many people, unarmed black people, that were shot, specifically shot by police. Let's all remember that the Second Amendment applies to black people too. Yeah, literally exactly that. Like, just because you have a gun and you're black doesn't mean you're doing crime. Except, I guess, being black in the wrong, wrong place, wrong time. Sorry, you're brown, gotta die. That fucking sucks. I can't believe she had the audacity to walk up to this poor woman and try to tell her that her existence, isn't affected by systemic racism. Like, as a white person, I would rip her fucking hair out. So I literally cannot imagine how badly as a black person you would want to just like take her out. Because she's invalidating everyone. It's disgusting. So, yeah. In 2015, 305 black people were killed by police. So, like, this is a huge problem. I got this information from statistia.com. It was like, it literally just took less than 30 seconds.
They commit, black people commit, that 13% of the population, over 50% of violent crimes in our country. Do you think that might account for why there are more black people in prison or the jail or the system?
But why do you think it's 50%? Why that means you're saying black people are troublemakers?
I'm not saying that. Those aren't my words.
I know,
but if
the
you get that from the numbers, is if that's what the numbers say, then that might explain why there are more black people in our prison systems. No, you don't. You think it's racism?
I do believe because, like I said, in the end, knowledge is power, but yes, numbers with 9 people altogether got killed from police. Okay, still it's 9 too many, and still how many people are in prison? Still, that's a lot of people. So you can't just tell me, automatically just. Well, black people, you just need to stop doing stupid stuff. Like,
well, I didn't say that.
No, I know you didn't say that. I'm not saying that.
No, you implied it.
From my opinion, from what I'm hearing, is like, still at the same time, it is a problem.
Well, maybe. I just want to maybe give you the idea that maybe you could walk away from this and think that maybe it's not because of racism. Maybe it's because the black community does commit more crime. That would make their communities more policed. You don't think it's possible that they commit that much crime?
No.
Let's talk about your poop. Your poop shouldn't feel too hard, like uncracked walnuts.
Actually,
whoa.
Why not?
I don't. Because the amount of people, if you say there's like, with 13%, how many percent is the white people?
I think it's about, I want to say 60, because there's a whole bunch of other races.
So there's 60, all right? Just say 60. Just use that number. We have 13, and 30% predominantly, most of them are bad. Versus the reality is, most of these serial killers, who are they? Who are the people that actually shoot up the schools? Who are the people that actually shoot up in Los Angeles? Who are they?
Oh, yeah.
9% of the country are black men. They commit more than 50% of all murders in the country. All murders of any.
Serial killers. If we start with serial killers, because I'm one of those people that I'm really into.
Oh my God.
Investigations.
I love this woman.
True crimes, crime junkie.
Yeah, don't back down. Ask her those questions.
There's a lot of 60%. You said 60%, right? Of them that they do a lot of crazy crimes.
They sure do.
All of a sudden, we're the ones that, because we're such a small number,
white people fucking suck
compared to you, we're the most dangerous ones.
I'm not saying you're the most dangerous, and I don't want you to think that I'm saying that or claiming that about the black community. I'm not, but
yes, you are. You're implying that.
Looking at TV shows and documentaries and things that really grab your attention. Look at the statistics. 9% of the
Don't watch documentaries. Don't watch documentaries. she has to like pivot back to her original point because she doesn't have anything memorized for that specific argument. So she has to like get back on track. So she said, well, don't watch documentaries, only listen to my statistic that I pulled out specifically stating these exact words to make my point sound more valid than yours. That's playing dirty. She's a dirty bitch.
Of the population in America are black men. Over 50% of murders in our country. Murders. So when you want to talk about serial killers, those are added into their murders.
If you want to be realistic,
because we're not talking about, we're not chanting white lives matter. We're talking about black lives matter. Black people.
Maybe you not, maybe not you specifically.
The reason why Black Lives Matter, because they just want to let it be known that, hey, we have a problem here. Just acknowledge me.
But what is the problem? Is the problem the police, or is the problem within their community?
The problem is, accept me. I'm not a bad person.
No, I don't think anybody thinks that. But the statistics shows
that you guys think that. Just think about it. So you just.
I think that.
Statistics shows that you think that black people are bad.
No, statistics can't show what people think. Statistics just show what the reality is. And we can look at statistics and graphs and things that have been collected over decades, and we can see where the problems might be within these communities that are destroying the cities right now. We can look at these statistics and we can maybe narrow down where the issue might be. And if we want to solve issues, I tell you what, Black Lives Matter is not the place we need to look for solving issues with police brutality when they want to take the fathers out of the home. You remove the fathers, you destroy the nuclear family for children that need to grow up in a stable family structure. Their odds of committing crime and going to jail skyrocket. I don't know why we say black people have an issue with the police and then want to make their risk of getting involved in the police go up. I would encourage you to look at their mission statement and then look at the statistics about what happens when we take fathers out of the home, especially for the black community. It is detrimental to them.
I think it was a few weeks ago, I don't know, some guy was just trying to go in a car with his kids, 3 kids. I don't know that. I don't know the full story about that, but based on what I've seen so far.
Based on literal, actual video evidence, that man got shot in the back while his children were in the car. And that officer had like zero regard for anybody else in that vehicle because he just fucking pow, pow, pow. The question is why the black community has those statistics, genes, culture, or maybe socioeconomic issues. Ding, ding, ding. Got it in one. Yeah, gibberish. Like, I was gonna, like, fact check this dumb bitch again, but she just, like, is spouting these dumb bullshit, like, statistics so quickly that, like, we're already past it. But focusing on specific points and not, like, pulling it together as a whole is another, like, bad faith argument. You're like nitpicking the pieces of an argument to drive home your point when as a whole, like, you have this piece and this piece and this piece, right? Which makes your argument look valid when you're missing all these other pieces. And together, they make you look like a huge fucking asshole. Or, in her case, literal shit. Yeah.
You can't tell me that's not a problem.
Well,
but it's still
I would like to
your
talk about that.
opinion.
Because if you don't know the full story, he had a warrant out for his arrest for sexual offenses and domestic violence. And he was involved in an altercation. He was fighting with the police. He actually had, I think, an object in his hand. I don't want to say a knife because I don't know for sure. He had an object in his hand fighting with the police, and they told him not to go in the car because he had said, I have a gun in the car. So he was going into the car.
What about the guy that actually just fell and that they literally blatantly killed and put?
Who?
The patience of this woman is saintly. Victoria's Secret ads are so weird.
That's bad. But
it was George Floyd.
George Floyd.
Did you watch any body cam footage? Hold on. Did you watch any body cam footage?
Yes, I actually did. I did.
Holy fucking fuck.
And he was saying he can't breathe. I can't breathe. He said, yes. So he said I couldn't breathe several times, saying he's claustrophobic, he can't get. And you're laughing, but I don't think it's funny because we've now destroyed our city. Why is that funny though?
No, she don't want. She don't want to be recorded. I don't want to be recorded. Hey, listen, Miss Furrow, come. If you.
I mean, we are in public, and if you want to record us, I welcome it. I love being on camera. It's great.
Ew.
But you are in public.
Ew.
Seriously, if you think there's an issue, I don't want any problems, but call the police if there is an issue. But I would encourage you.
Don't record her. Just don't record her. Like,
right, but she's laughing at a situation that is detrimental to our country.
That's
right.
Her opinion. Is your opinion the same thing? Like
it's not an opinion. What happened?
It is an opinion.
It's not an opinion
about what happened.
Oh, I'm not talking about feelings. I am talking about facts about what happened.
It's an opinion how you.
No, you're not.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, that is an opinion.
How you feel about the facts.
It sure is.
Versus my opinion, how I feel about the facts. I'm not trying to get in an argument because personally, it doesn't affect me. Because in the end, what bound to happen is bound to happen. I'm not going to be stressed over this. I do believe all lives matter, but I do believe in the end, until you fully understand there's a problem with the black community, then no lives matter. But I am a firm believer of all lives matter. I'm one of those people. But at the same time, we all need to fully understand each other's side.
You keep saying to understand each other's sides, but you keep telling me things that aren't happening, and it's right there in the body footage.
I'm trying to explain things that I see that's going on, and you're like, well, no, that's not facts.
Justin, what is this?
Let's just
I don't know. I feel like we should end this because I don't know what's going on.
Okay. It was nice
Justin,
meeting you guys.
it is Katrina. It was great meeting you. I appreciate the conversation.
Are you?
I have no hard feelings.
No hard feelings at all. You're a stranger. I can't have hard feelings towards you. Katrina was amazing. Katrina was a very respectful person that I feel like was halfway open to listening to a conversation. I think she has a little bit of bias that is clouding her ability to see the truth of what's happening. And
Oh yeah, what would that
what
be?
Is going on in the
Caitlin?
George Floyd case.
Shit girl.
Unfortunately, her friend, I mean, she's still laughing. She started laughing when I started talking about the truth about what happened with
The
George
truth.
Floyd.
The
When we pointed
truth.
the camera over at her because she had a big old smile on. You'd think that she'd want to be in the frame there. She looked like she was ready for the camera. Broke down in tears. She was all of a sudden a victim. But what she doesn't understand is that she's in public and she can be filmed. If she doesn't want to do it in public, she shouldn't be out here. I don't know what this gentleman on the bike was supposed to do for her. I don't know why she went crying to him. But these are the situations we get in when someone wants to be rude or
She
wants to be
literally
professional or
got
wants to be a little
scared
pretty little girl.
Because
take the heat when they get called out on it. So
a
don't forget,
brown
guys, for
man
uncut
on a
behind-the-scenes
bike
footage, you can go to libertyhangout.tv.
was too
It's a
close
good
to
time
her.
Figure out how we do things here, what it looks like as we're trying to film these incredible interactions. Liberty Hangout.
Incredible interactions. Fuck this bitch. Fuck this bitch. What a grifter. That's disgusting. That was so infuriating to my core. And I can't believe that she's allowed to have a platform being that absolutely blatantly racist. And trying to tell people of color that that it doesn't exist, that systemic racism isn't a real thing. Anyway, that's the end of my stream for tonight. we got through the video. My cat's being a butthole. There she is. If you like what I have to say about things or enjoy watching me play games, hit that follow button because I'm trying to hit affiliate and I only need 12 more follows to get there. Once I hit affiliate, we'll have like lots of fun emotes and badges and stuff, but not until I hit affiliate. We're getting super close though. I have a goal set for my channel to hit 100 follows by the end of July. I am confident that we can get there. So if you like my stuff, go ahead and share with your buds. I always upload my VODs to YouTube, so they're there forever. For you to watch over and over and over again. I don't know why you would ever do that. But I'm not you. So, yeah. So I'm gonna get going and I will see you guys tomorrow for not Harvest Moon. Stardew Valley. Something about the sky. You're welcome, Dante. Thanks for sticking around. Yeah, Stardew Valley tomorrow. It's going to be like a really chill, cute stream. So if that's your thing, come hang out. I gotta go because my cat's losing her ever-loving mind. I love you guys. Bye.